Hi everybody, my name is Makeup Dr. Shree and thank you for joining me for another episode of Devotional Diva. I like to at least give a Bible verse each day, if not do a video about my spiritual journey and what's going on in my life. I like to start out by saying Psalms 19:14, which reads, "May these words of my mouth and this meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, Lord, my rock, my redeemer." And I say that to remind myself that it's for the Lord's will that I do this and not my own. And so today I'm talking about kind of faith and focus and where your treasure is, or more personally, where my treasure is. And Matthew 6:21 reads, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." And it really made me think because I was thinking about how many hours are in a day, and because I was having some financial difficulty, I trying to schedule my time so that I am being as productive as possible to be able to bring in some more income, because I'm going through kind of a rough patch right now, and it's rougher than it has been for me in a long time. And so I was looking at where I'm spending my time, and then also thinking about that verse that talks about where your treasure is also. And there are 1,440 minutes in every 24-hour period. We spend about roughly 8 hours of that sleeping, 8 hours of that working, depending on if it's a weekday or a weekend. That's about 480 minutes for every 8 hours. And then after that we have about another 8 hours to do whatever we want. And I realized that I spend maybe about 15 minutes a day on the devotional, like the Youversion devotional app, which I love, and I just started using on a regular basis last year. Before that, I wasn't really spending any time in the Word or praying or anything. So that's been a big change in my life. Something that my parents, my mom and my sister noticed as well. But that I also spend about 240 minutes a day, at least, watching TV. And I realized that, I was like, wow, that's a lot of time. Now, sometimes I am doing other things while I'm watching TV, but I'm pretty sure I'm not that productive. I'm not as productive as I would be if I wasn't watching TV. I do spend a little time in the Lord when I'm doing the Devotional Diva, depending on what it is. If I'm just doing a Bible verse, and it depends on how long it takes me to find something I want to post. But the verses are usually pretty short if I'm actually going to record. And I look into the verses, and sometimes I spend up to a couple of hours just reading the Bible and going through different Bible verses and praying about it and trying to decide what to say that day. But still, it's nowhere near the time that I'm spending on TV shows, and then also playing passive video games, and we're just looking at YouTube and ridiculous stuff on there, that on social media. And looking at the time I spent like an hour or two a day doing that, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what a waste. I mean, I love to crochet and stuff too, and I'll have to go get the thing that I just finished crocheting, because I thought at least that's something. I do the video games and the TV as sort of like an escape to not like think about the problems that I have going on. So some people drink, some people may do drugs. I'm not a big drinker. I've never really been into drugs. And I have self-medicated with food before, but I'm trying not to do that anymore either. And to say, okay, so if I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to do these other things, I found the games are as a way of escaping. But I thought if I just want to relax and unwind, I can do my crocheting, and I'll show you guys that in a little bit. And at least when I'm done with that, I actually have something to show for it, rather than playing a game and there's nothing to show for it. But when I compare my time with how much time I spend in the Lord and how much time I spend just doing random stuff, I just cringe to consider it. So I'm thinking about Matthew 6:33, which says, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." And so I would like to improve my financial situation and my romantic situation and some other situations in my life. And I thought, I really need to focus on the Lord, because when you're focusing on the Lord, then other things come as well. And how can I do that? Because I have these wonderful books that I need to read, and that I'm not doing because I'm doing these other things, like the Purpose-Driven Life. I don't know if you can see that there. My sister's church is reading it, and I'm reading along with them. I have some catch-up reading to do. I was sick for a time there, but not sick anymore. And then The Power of I Am, which I also started reading, and I was just like, that's a fabulous book. So I probably could have been done with these books by now if I hadn't been spending my time elsewhere. And so it just really made me think about that. And so I uninstalled the games from my phone. I think I might have some on my tablet still. But I just want to spend more of my free time. Like, what would happen if I spent more of my free time reading about the Lord, in praise worship, like listening to cool bumping, R&B, hip hop, praise music, and focusing on the Lord instead of mindlessly trying to escape my problems. But how much more would my life change? And how would my faith level improve? Romans 8:5 reads, "Those who live according to the flesh have their minds set on what the flesh desires. But those who live in accordance to the Spirit have their minds set on what the Spirit desires." And so I want to have my mind set on what the Spirit desires. I don't want to focus on flesh things. And a lot has changed for me in the last year because I'm definitely not the same person I was, and I thank God for that. And I'm sorry about that. I just hit the camera. And I thank God for that. But I really, the Lord is tugging on my heart to do better and to keep growing. And so that's what I'm trying to do. And I don't know if there's anything in your life that the Lord is tugging on your heart to do, to say, hey, maybe that's not the best thing for you. Like for me, I would always record like divorce court and sometimes other divorce shows, and me and my mom would watch them together and laugh or whatever, and just be like, oh girl, did you see that? I would never put up with that. But of course you never know what you would or would not put up with until you're in that situation, but we like to talk. And it is not like the healthiest show to watch. It's like, maybe I shouldn't be watching those shows. Maybe I should spend more time reading the Bible or reading, these other biblical books rather than have the TV on a Law and Order marathon or something like that. So I'm not saying any of these things are bad. I love Judge Lynn Toller. But I am just trying to find the best path for myself by focusing on the Lord. And so I'm talking about what I'm doing, and I'd love to hear what you're doing. And have you changed recently or in the past, or how do you feel about focusing on the Lord? Is what you're doing working? Is there something that you need to change? I'd love to hear from you if you have any Bible verses that you really like. I know today's a much longer one than I've done in a while, but the Lord kind of put it on my heart to just talk about it. So you'll hear me talking about the books that I'm reading. Not hopefully, but you definitely will hear about the books that I'm reading in future videos. And I just say thank you so much for dropping by. If this is your first time, or if you are a regular viewer, you are very much appreciated. And God bless you. I hope to see you again.